Hey everybody, I hope we are live. It looks like we are. One moment, let me fix the sound. It'll just take one moment. No, sound looks like it's on. How's everybody doing? Let me double check and make sure that the sound is on. I think so. Let's see. And looks like we have 4 people on here right now. Let's see. So I don't see anybody in the room here. This is part 9. Okay. Hey John, how you doing? Mr. John Payne, how's it going? So it's dwindling. Less and less people on the live stream. I guess everyone else is on that TV airbrush guide or something like that. But, you know, it seems like it's getting less and less every month. You know, every week, less and less and less. Not very happy about it. Hey, Blue, how you doing? Marshall, how's it going? Good to see you, Matt. I'm surprised you're not over it. Everyone's not over at some guy painting a cup or something. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thank you so much. So we are going to do part 9, which is pretty good. Tone, how's it going? Good to see you. All right, so I'm not painting a cup or a fender, but I think you guys are going to enjoy it anyway. So let's go ahead and, hey, Paul, how's it going? Good to see you. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get pretty far in this painting, which is going to be really good. Willie, how's it going? Good to see you, sir. So glad you're here. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up our reference here so you guys can see what I'm working on. Let's see if that comes up. I don't see. There she is. Okay, there's Maria. Okay, so we'll bring Maria up here, which is good. And so that is fantastic. And Mr. Roy, how's it going, sir? Good to see you. So, okay, so let's go ahead and let's darken this down just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and use Pure Ref. Let's make that happen. Let's see, where is she? There she is. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to continue working on the fabric a little bit. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll go ahead and do that. And that is great. Okay, so let's go ahead and just continue working on the fabric here. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. All right, so let's come over here and just continue. Anyone have any questions about how to do folds? Because that seems like a big question when students ask me. Always have trouble with folds. What do you guys have trouble with folds? Is folds something that's you find easy, or maybe you have some good tips on how you handle folds? I'd love to hear. Hey, Jesus, how's it going? Good to see you. Hey, look, it's Mr. Kennedy. How's it going, sir? Very cool group so far. And just working that out there a little bit at a time. Just want to make sure that you guys can see it. So Marshall, I'm glad you're back. Good to see you, sir. The thing is with folds is that there's a lot going on within the shape. So let me just give a case in point. So let's see if we zoom in here. We'll see that although it is, you know, a shape, there's a lot happening in that shape, right? So here is this little dark shape over here. If we were just going to paint that dark shape, it would be incomplete, but you see it's a little darker on this right side. And then as we work, you can see that it kind of dissipates over here. And then comes out like this. And it's kind of multi-dimensional. And you see how it gets lighter on that other side, right? So it's kind of like an indentation. So it's a little bit more than just getting that shape. Oh yes, Roy, folds are basically, you have to work on them like hair, right? So when we work on hair, we first paint the helmet, and then from there we go ahead and we work on the large lights and dark shapes, and then we do the shapes within the shapes, the edges, then the subsequent hair. So very similar with what I'm doing in folds, right? Very, very similar. Hey, Clutch, good to see you. How's it going, sir? So glad you're here. And then you have varying degrees of value, right? So right here, you see it gets darker and sharper over here. And then it gradually dissipates. And what's happening is that the color is getting, or the light is getting much more intense as we come further out here. We'll just pull this up here. As you can see, just like so. Let's make sure I have that on camera. Let's see. Okay, maybe I can darken it just a little bit. And we just have to stick to it, right? That's the thing, is to be tenacious and stick to it. And you see, eventually we can definitely work that in. And right here, we have a light that comes across. And in the live stream, I'm not going to show the whole thing, but I will definitely, oh, like your work shirts. Definitely. And we'll just bring that over. And let's see how that's looking. You can see how it develops, right? How little by little you go from, you know, very, how do you say, you go from the broad to the specific, and that's usually the best way to do this stuff. And eventually I'm going to come in with the white pastel, and then you're going to see things really start to come together. But right now I can do a lot just with the eraser. Oh, Blue says she has to learn how to do the foreshortening and the blur effects. And that's a great question, Blue. And basically what you want to do is to always try and paint what's there and not let our subconscious get in the way. And that's what I do a lot of times. So that 1 second rule will really help. And try not to, like these fingers here, I try not to think of them as fingers. I just think of it as a shape and being soft or hard edged, you know what I mean? So that really helps. Ah, thank you, Jesus. That is fantastic. Jesus is the proud owner, which I am almost done making, of the Xtreme Patriot arrow. So I'm really, really excited that you'll be using that, Jesus. Thank you so much. And I gotta warn you, it may become your favorite airbrush. I know it's mine. That happens. That definitely could happen. So we'll just continue this, and let me go ahead and come in with the white pastel just to show you how that works. You know, once we come in with the white pastel, things are really gonna pop as far as the folds go. And right here, we'll just, you can see now things will really start to ramp up. So now I can use the gray of the paper, right? And using that gray of the paper gives me much more ability to make it look three-dimensional. That's what we're doing. We're just illusionists, making something two-dimensional appear three-dimensional. That's all we're doing. And right over here, you can see how this starts to pop. So I'm not thinking this as a fold or sheets. I'm just really, blue. What I'm doing is just painting shapes, but really making sure that I don't let my subconscious get in the way. Just concentrate on what's there, not what I think is there. And keep my head in the game, meaning don't get lost. Really concentrate with the 1 second rule. And you see, you can even simplify things, which is great. So if you take the complex and make it simple, that's really going to help. Ah, thank you there, John. John says, Jesus will love the Xtreme Patriot arrow for the detail. With that detail mixture, and taking that detail mixture and diluting it just a bit, really makes it like working with a mechanical pencil. It really does feel that way. That's the only thing I can describe. Working with the inks and the Xtreme Patriot arrow, it's like working with a mechanical pencil. It really, really is. 100%. So let's see. Come over here. So now that I see, I'm going to talk some real talk. And, you know, I've been doing these live streams, so we're going to stop painting for a moment because there's something on my mind. And I don't do this too often. Well, maybe I do it often. Maybe not as often as I want to. So you guys ready for some real talk? Because this is going to be a little hard to take for some people in the airbrush world. So I've been doing these live streams since 2016 at 9:30, and I've been doing it on Wednesdays at 9:30. And one of the things that I feel that I deserve, that I earned, is to leave 9:30 at Wednesday alone. That I feel that that's what I deserve. I don't see people going on other people's time slots. I see them leaving that time slot alone. But not only are people taking Wednesday at 9:30, which doing since 2016, I feel I earned that time slot. But they're advertising it, they're going to it, and I don't know. Let me hear what you guys have to say. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think the hairs on my back are standing up just a little bit. Because if this is a community, then we don't do that to one another, right? So now, if this is the way it is, and then that's fine. Then is it open season now? Can I just go and do a live stream when anyone else is doing it? So let's say someone's getting 100 people on the time slot. So can I just go ahead and just say, hey, everybody, if you don't like what they're painting, come to my time slot? Because if it's okay for someone to just go ahead and advertise on the 9:30 time slot, then is it okay for me to go ahead? Because since I have this time slot since 2016, so let me see, let me do the counting. I'm not good at math. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 6 years. So I've been doing it 6 years. So if it's okay, then what should I do? Should I just say, okay, this is how it is, then I can just take someone else's time slot? So I leave it up to you. I'm going to continue painting. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Because, you know, lately I went from 30 people, 28 to 30 people in my live streams, down to 12. I'll be okay. I'm going to paint no matter what. I am going to do this live stream no matter what or who comes here. But I want to know, what time is it? Is it okay for me to go ahead and just, you know, figure out when the best time slot is, and then just go ahead and not care about my fellow airbrush artist and just try and get as much as I can when I can, and that sort of thing? That's what I'm curious of. And so basically that's basically where it's at, you know. I spoke my mind. When I see my live streams go down to 12, if I see it go down to 12, there's a reason for it. Is my work lacking? Am I no longer nice? Am I no longer helping people? No, there's something else that's having to do with it. So if this is a community, then be a community. Don't be a hypocrite. So, you know, I don't know. See, but the thing is, here's the thing, guys. I am not going to do the same. I am not going to take someone else's time slot, because that's not how I work, right? That's not how I work. I'm not going to take someone's time slot. But the thing is, they have no qualms taking my time slot. Come on, man. You guys are talking about like 6 years. They don't know that my time slot is 9:30, right? On Wednesdays for 6 years, and just curious. But I appreciate your support, guys. I really do. Um, and believe me, I said this so this would get out to the people who it needs to get out to. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate that. And thank you, Colette. And thank you, Tone. And thank you, Roy. And uh, appreciate it. Thanks, Sam. Uh, thanks, Jesus. And so, you know, I know when someone's doing the right thing and someone's not doing the right thing. And I just feel that taking my time slot is not the right thing to do. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's just not cool. And that's the whole thing. It's just not cool. Thank you, Marshall. So I appreciate it. You know, I worked hard, to get that 9:30 slot, when nobody was doing live streams. I was busting my butt. I was doing live streams when nobody was doing live streams. And, and there was nobody here. And I just continued pushing it, and, perfecting the live streams, making sure that it wasn't, I was just making sure that, that I don't have any kind of interruptions and making the live streams the best and everything like that. But I'm used to not getting respect. I don't know why I shouldn't be, but I'm used to it. But you know what? I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue doing it, regardless. And just just gonna keep pushing myself, and those who believe in what I'm doing will be here, even if it's just four of yous. It doesn't matter. Definitely, Marshall. And I'm totally in the right here, totally. And I really think that this that thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. Thank you. And you know, I just think it's important to let people know, out there, that when something I feel is unfair, to go ahead and say, hey, that's not fair. Now, do I give that people the benefit of the doubt? Yeah, maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but still, it's just not cool. Thanks, Jesus. And Jesus says he loves what I do. He's glad I found and wish I found you guys earlier. I'm learning more. Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you there, Mr. Kennedy and everybody. And thanks, Colette. Yes, hit that smash that like button if you get a chance. So I have a special treat, and you know what? I don't care. Uh, I'm going to be doing a live stream this Saturday night at 8 o'clock. And that's for you guys. And you guys are going to love this live stream at 8 o'clock. And hey, Todd, how's it going? So the live stream at 8 o'clock is going to be the portrait in pastel. And we are going to go into color we are going to work in color. And I'm thinking of doing Saturday at 8 every... thank you, Roy. I appreciate that. Thanks, Blue. I appreciate that. No, that has nothing to do with you, Blue. It has to do with, someone taking the 9:30 slot, Yeah, so Colette, that's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's nothing to do with you, Blue. You're cool. But it's just that, everyone knows Wednesday at 9:30, right? I think it's great, to feed surf and to do as much, but I think it is a common courtesy for other live streamers to say, hey, this guy's been doing a live stream for what, 6 years? Maybe I won't take his live stream and pull his audience away from him, right? Maybe, right? So yes, Jesus, this Saturday night, and you know what? It's gonna be pastel, but I'm going to do an India ink underpainting that I'm going to be doing off camera, and then we're going to just start in color, and that's going to be great. And so yeah, so normally I would be like but honestly, now my gander is up a little bit. So I'm going to start working in color, and I'm going to start doing some little aggressive things in the live stream. Yes, it's going to be in pastel. And so thanks, Willie. That would be great to see you. So, a lot of it was... I just wanted to do my own thing. Now everything's fair game with me. So now I'm going to start coming in with color. I'm going to be doing other things. I'm going to be separating myself by really helping you guys to other things, such as drawing in pencil, drawing on tinted paper with different colored tinted papers, with pencil, maybe even colored pencil. The Wednesday night will always be, will still be the, which is really cool. Wednesday nights will always be the airbrush, as we're doing. But now Saturday night is going to be pastel portraits. And I'm going to do a lot of things. I'm going to teach you guys the best surface to work with pastels. And you can incorporate which is really cool, which you're going to love, you can incorporate your airbrush with it. And I'm going to show you how to mix airbrush and pastel, which you're all going to love, trust me. Oh, yes, it's going to be on YouTube because I want to help this channel, Oh, thanks, Marshall. No, this has nothing to do with the audience. This has 100% to do with me. So you guys, I appreciate you stopping here. You guys could have done a million other things, Marshall. So it really isn't how I feel about the audience or whatever. It's just, I thought that there was a bit of a chivalry in the airbrush world, where if you were a 9:30 slot for 6 years, you didn't just not give a crap and just take it on them, right? Just take their audience that I built up all these years. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Yes, that's right, Willie, the old days. That's right. Yes, and this would definitely, so Jesus, Jesus loves the one-on-one classes because some messages on here can be misinterpreted. That's cool. And Blue says that will definitely help her to improve your pencil skill. It definitely will. And Clutch says, who took your slot? I'm not going to mention anything, but it's just something that was on my chest and I felt the need to say it. Incorporating bold mediums is a great thing to learn, definitely. Because so Bill says, to be honest, while he loves loves a lot the airbrush community, yeah, Bill, I hear that, and that's just unfortunate, right? But it's sad. I don't work that way, It's I try to help people, when other people are like fledgling live streamers, I even give them pointers on, what programs to get or something like that. I try and help, right? Because I'm in the thing where if I win, you win, not if I win, you lose, sort of thing. Yeah, and I mean that's all I'm gonna mention about this, guys. Uh, you know, so I just think it just kind of I'm just gonna keep it on a very dignified kind of way to approach this and not stoop to any level, which the basis part of me wants to, like kind of ghetto Tim wants to, but I'm not going to, right, guys? And that's a shame because, you know, I'm always helping people. And anyone who knows me out there, my help is for free, for a lot of things. I mean, I can tell you probably 90% of you guys out there I've helped and, just as a friend helped, you know, because that's the way I am. And for me to say anything like I'm saying today, it has to be something that, I feel is unfair, right? Thanks, Clutch. I appreciate that. Oh, listen to this. So Jesus says he got one instructing him on how to go about his art and did not have any paintings on his account. Turned out he wanted to sell him on some customized airbrush, and so he got unfriended and blocked. And so that's unbelievable. Colette says she's in a mentorship program, and she says, from the heart, I am an excellent mentor. Thank you. I appreciate that. Uh, and so, but I don't like. Thank you there, Mr. Kennedy. I appreciate it. I honestly, I don't like drama and I don't like confrontation. And 99 times out of 100, I won't say anything. But when I see my concurrent viewers at 11, that used to be 30, and I see someone else having my time slot, and they have some of my people that I worked hard for 6 years with the 9:30 at Wednesday slot. And not only that, being advertised to go there at 9:30 on Wednesday, that's just not cool. So, you know, is it, I just feel it's not cool. And so we're supposed to be a friendly community, right? I mean, that's just my opinion. Hey, Mr. Steve, how you doing, sir? Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate that. So, Mr. Willie has been with me since almost the beginning, right, Willie? And you remember there was only one or two people? Some days you were the only person that was there. That was pretty funny. But, and that's what I built up over all those years of doing it every week when no one else was live streaming. Also, giving away information when nobody was giving away information, right? And so that is quite interesting, and so, and I did it because I love it and I love helping. One of the main reasons I decided to go into doing the live streams was that there was a couple of people who were going to sell their airbrush, and I asked them, I was like, well, why are you doing that? It's like, no, I'm just done with it. I don't, and I was like, no, don't sell your airbrush. And they were giving it away. And some people on these forums were like really upset, like, oh man, I almost got a custom micron for like really cheap. And I was like, no. And I talked that person down, and they're airbrushing today. So that's what I think community is about. That is definitely what I feel community is about. My guest, how you doing, sir? So it is. So how's your dad there, Mr. Steve? Is he doing okay? And I'm sorry to hear that your family's going through that rough time. Take care, Clutch. Always a pleasure, my friend. No, it's true. It really is. But I'm going to stay who I am. I'm going to continue doing it and doing it for the right reasons. And no matter what, I'm just going to keep doing it. Good to hear you're doing good, Mr. Mike S. That's for sure. And so now we worked on some folds. Now we could, let's see. So sometimes when you're coming in with the white, you may come a little too hot and heavy. So let's see. Let's come over here. So even me saying that might even lower the amount of people who are watching, but I don't care. You know why? Because stuff like that needs to be said. Stuff like that definitely needs to be said. So I am going to say it, and it doesn't matter because, things like that, no one says anything and thinks like, oh, that's cool. Tim's a jerk. He doesn't really. It's no big deal. What is, No, I'm not. I do see it. And I'm not in the corporate environment, so I'm going to speak my mind, without question. Wow, Jesus says that the painting looks better than the... I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Now what I'm seeing is right here, it's just a little tiny bit darker. Right here at the cheek here. So there's just a little more of a dark there at the cheek. So I have my Xtreme Patriot arrow, the customized version with the detail mix. Let's see. Steve never paints your suggestions, huh, Bill? Okay, let's see. Also on Saturday nights is once in a while I'm going to be doing a demonstration in photography. Maybe a little bit of macro photography or something like that. So I'm going to separate myself from the competition by sharing with you guys just a little more of what I know and just trying to inspire everyone, because the other things, the portrait photography, the macro photography, the drawing, painting, art history, anatomy, all those different things are going to help your art. And that's why I'm actually going to start pushing that stuff. And you know what? I loved the part of Rocky when he was, you know, punching with his left hand, and then all of a sudden he started using his right hand. And that's exactly what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start really not pulling any punches with what I share with you guys, and really start to really continue helping everybody that is in the live stream, and especially my regulars. Mr. Bill, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, that was a great hummingbird that you're doing there. So beautiful bird that Bill's working on. So that was really cool. Let's see. Okay. So as you can see, oh, here's something interesting. There's a little bit of a watery, her eye here on the left has just a little bit of water here. And let's go ahead and do that together. See if I could just do the tap tap here. Now if I overdo it, it won't look good. But if I do it just right, it'll be really nice. And let's erase this. And I think I can darken up the white of her eye just a little bit. And let's see if we can lighten this up just a tad. So you see how everything is slowly coming together. We're not in a rush. Now, what I also want you to notice is that there are areas that are just a little darker than other areas. And that's going to help give a little bit of dimension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my customized Xtreme Patriot 105 and I'm going to load it with the medium mixture. Now the medium mixture is quite dark, you know, so that's important. Hey, that would be cool if you came by, Bill, that's for sure. Definitely. If you're in the neighborhood, definitely stop by, Mr. Kennedy. That would be wild. Uh, Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's very encouraging, sir. Definitely. And let's pull this in here. Just a little bit. You don't want to waste the ink, although the ink's very inexpensive. My ink mixtures, there's no need to waste. So when I load it, my friends, I always want to make sure that I test it. And you want to test it on the same paper you're working on, like not the same paper, but the same brand and color, so you know what it's going to do, right? So that's very important. And Mike S says, Tim, does the paper texture show in the art as bad as it does when you zoom in? Actually, no. When you zoom in, you're seeing it almost like in a macro sort of thing. Actually, you're seeing it much larger than it is in person. So you don't see that texture at all. Great question, Mike. Jesus, say hi to Sergio, Sebastian for me. No, sir, no, it's Sergio, right? Sergio, sorry. Say hi to Sergio for me. He's a great kid, and your wife and your daughter. And I will see you on Sunday. Yeah, Sergio, sorry about that. He's unforgettable. And so I know he's a great dad. He takes his kids to softball and baseball, and he's a hard worker. He's just an all-around good guy. So, Jesus, thank you for coming by and spending part of your Wednesday night with me. It's a real honor, and thank you, sir. So that is cool. And okay, so now we have the medium mixture in here, and we're going to go a little darker. And let's see, where can we punch in some darks here? Very cool, very cool. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, this is nice. This is a nice dark. And you see how that punches out some really nice color. Nice, I wouldn't say color, but nice contrast. Very cool. And we have a nice dark. We're going to start erasing some of those lights, but let's intensify some of these darks here, which is nice. So you see it's starting to give her some really nice dimension. Thanks, Tone. Have a great night, my friend. As always. Take care, Steve. Glad you're back. And so that is cool. So basically, we're just making things a lot darker, a lot richer, especially right here. There's some really nice darks right in here. There we go. Make that hand come a little forward. Beautiful dark right here. Just where you see some darks kind of stand out from the rest. Now you got to be careful not to go too overzealous with your darks, right? Definitely have to be careful that way. I'm going to go back to my detail mixture. And let's do some of these errant hairs here. And I'm seeing a different expression here in the face, and let's see if I can go ahead and work on this just a little bit here. Okay. So with starting to do pastels on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, it's really going to be great because I have over 30 years of experience painting in pastels. Over 30 years. And that's going to be great because you're going to get some of that information for free. And I think that's really cool. And everyone here does airbrush, but do you realize that you can actually do full color paintings, uh, on paper, on masonite, on, which is wood panel, uh, and you can do them full with the airbrush underpainting and then going over it with the full color, which is great. What's up there, Brad? How's it going? And like I said, I see I extended this little bit of a dark here. Just a little bit too much. Let's see if we get this. And just come over here. Much lighter over here, everybody. Much lighter. go. Let's see how this looks. Okay, just a little bit lighter in there, and then just there's this little tiny bit of a border in there. But you can see how light kind of sneaks in. Oh, yes, that's true. So maybe I'll just go ahead and zoom a little bit more. So I definitely I want you to see that, definitely. So let me zoom in. I'm going to do it right here on her eyes, sir. Let's see if I could. Let's see. Now, in cases like this, I really want it to pop, right? I want it to explode. So, my teacher at the National Academy School of Fine Arts told me to break off a piece of pastel, like so, and use that to get a much more powerful white. And I think he was correctamundo, as Fonzie would say. Let's zoom down here. See that little bit of more powerful here. Looks weird now, but when I zoom out, it'll look good. And right here. So this pastel, so what we'll start to be teaching on Saturday nights is that, you know, there's different pastels. All pastels are not created equal, and some pastels are softer, some are harder, some leave a less pastel, some leave more. And let's zoom out and you'll see. There you go. So you see the power in that, which is really cool. So Blue says, would you ever use gel pen for highlight? Would that not work with the ink? Yeah, definitely wouldn't use the gel pen. It just will look weird. Plus, the gel pen, once you put it down, will have a heck of a time getting it off. But as you can see with pastel, I can get that off quite easily. So that's cool. Oh, true. So the camera doesn't show it. But what when I blow it up? Is that better, Mike? I hope. So yes, Blue, definitely pastel. You can always erase it, which is fantastic, which I think is a really good thing. Let's put a little bit of that white on the catchlight of her eyes, shall we, everybody? Let's do that. See these beautiful catchlights we have here? Now the trick is to find the corner. And then once we have that down, we have the ability just to erase what we don't want, right? So it's not like we have to be perfect. We can basically just erase what we don't want. Which is cool. And we don't, you know, when it comes to catch lights, you don't have to be exact. Catch lights are just a reflection of the flash or the sun or what have you. It really has nothing to do with whether or not it's going to be a realistic piece or not, right? So no need to worry about being exact with the catch lights. And again, let's see if we could work on this here. Perhaps we'll come in with that white pastel here. So I'm going to look for that corner. Let's go ahead, just like when we work with the paper. Let's work with this paper to find exactly where that corner is. There we go. Now I'm talking. Now that's the stuff, buddy, right there. There we go. See, I had it and I erased it. Ugh. Let's do it again. Let's find that corner. There we go. I like that. All right, and then we have a powerful light right here. See if we can get that. Maybe a little bit stronger. And remember, we can always erase what we don't want, right? All right, let's zoom out. Okay, so you see that? And again, right here might be a little overzealous, so we'll just pull that down, such as that. Let's see what I missed. My guess says, when I blend, is it so little moved or removed at a time it's hard to see the change unless it's drastic? Sometimes, yes, sometimes that's true. But a lot of times it's, yeah, it is. It's just, many of the times it's just, you know, intensifying an area just like that, where you don't readily see it, but when it's added up to other things, it really starts to make a difference, right? And then like right here, there's just going to be a super slight turning of the forms inside the shadows. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And oh, yes. Sometimes, yeah, when I zoom in, yeah, sometimes it's true. It looks like I'm not doing anything. But it really is eventually. I guess just the adding of it, right? Little here, little there. Then, so like right now, I want to have a little more transparency in this mid-tone here. So the only way to do that is to scumble in some of this pastel, but be ever so light, right? It looks like nothing's happening. And I'm just me, you know, trying to understand the light and model the form, right? Oh, thanks, Brad. Brad says it always comes together in the end. I appreciate that. I may have one more week just to finish this up. I want to make sure this is complete when I move on to the next Airbrush live stream. So Wednesday nights will always be my Airbrush live streams, just like tonight. But now Saturday nights at 8, and it just might change, you know. But as far as painting in pastel, that is slated to be 8 o'clock on Saturday. So we'll see how that goes, see how many people, you know, would like that, who will show up. And see how I went ahead and created a little more transparency in this mid-tone here. And I think that works. But that can only work in the end stages, right? Like right now, this is the end stage. Right here we see a little bit of her cheekbone. Let me see if I can move this over. See right here, we see just a tiny bit of her cheekbone, right as this comes down. And this is something that we'll only see at the end, everybody, right? Only at the end. And as you can see, as we are working this out, her likeness starts to come more and more. She just sort of appears, right? That's how I look at it. And I think I could fix her mouth here a little bit. This is much too dark. So I'm just going to lighten this up with some white pastel. And so if I lighten it up too much, I can always come back in with the kneaded eraser and pull back what's underneath there, which is really cool. Same thing with over here. This is a little too crazy. I can calm that down. And I can also use my eraser and calm down the dark over here if I feel it's too dark. It's almost like working with wet paint. It really is. Oh, take care, Bill. I hope you're doing well, and have a great night, my friend. And thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate that, Bill. Thank you so much, sir. Ooh, so right here on the right side of her forehead, our right, I see we can probably put in a little more lights here. And I think that will go a long way in just really figuring out what the light is doing around here, right? It's not just here's the light, here's the shadow. No, the light's moving around, it's bouncing off of things, bouncing off of her, bouncing off of the wall that we don't see. All these different things, and we have to imagine that. It's really quite important to do so. So remember, we're painting the light. We're not painting her. We're painting the light. And so it's the light, how it reacts to Malia here. That's what we're doing. So Malia, whether she's here or not in this photo, the light would still be there. But if the light's not here, then Malia, we wouldn't see her. So the light is even more important than she is, as pictorially. That is so true. So now we're just going to make sure that we give the light its due. Let's see. Pull that up. And right here, I think I got it off a little bit on this nose here. I think I can come in just a little bit. And let me show you exactly what I mean. Now, huge reconstructive changes at this point, you got to pretty much cut your losses and say, get them next time. But I was a little too heavy with this nostril. And you see how I cut in there? See how I did that? And that's going to make a big difference. And so I just wanted to share that with you, that, if you're able to fix it at this stage, you fix it. If not, you live with it and you get them next painting, okay? But I was fortunate to be able to make that change here. But like I said, working in the India inks and the airbrush, it's like working in a wet medium, in a sense, like working with oils, wet on wet. And that's what I like about it. There's nothing you really can't fix, except in the very late stages, you might be in trouble. But really, there's not much, you know. Bill, have a great night. Thanks so much for hanging out, and thank you for sharing your live stream last night. Bill does a great live stream last night. I think it was Tuesday night at what was it, 8 o'clock, Bill? It was really nice. He's painting a hummingbird, which I liked. We can definitely see how I can make this shape a little bit more stronger. Let me zoom out and show you. My pleasure, Bill. Bill's a good guy, and he's a Mets fan, so those are two really good pluses. Fellow Mets fan right there. See how I thinned out that nose, guys? I think that really helps. And it's all about Malia, right? How we could show off her beauty here. Ooh, here's some good things to do. Thank you. Thank you. And so that's really cool. Mike is telling Mr. Bill to have a fun time painting. That's cool of you, Mike. So the good thing about applying the pastel, as opposed to gel pens, as Honey said earlier, with this I can always calm it down by, tapping it with the eraser. So it doesn't matter if I put it on too light. I can always come in later and calm that down quite easily. So I really love now how the white is actually starting to work well. So when you're working with the India ink, you can use the white pastel if you're careful, not applying it too thinly. You can actually avoid blue shift, which is great. In the event you do get blue shift, you just erase it. And you see how we're really starting to get that hair texture. And you see me moving around. Like let's say over here I'm seeing an intensity of light here. So I'm going to hit that, right? See, there's an intensity of light where her cheek is facing the light source just a little more directly than everything else. So that means the light has less time to get there, right? So if the light travels the least, the more intense it is. So the less it has to travel, the more powerful the light is going to be. So keep that in mind. That's a little tidbit of information that you should write that down, because that's going to help you with everything you paint. Everything and anything. Mike says he does that with his belly. Can he make that thin too? Well, if I could, I would do that myself, my friend. I'm working on that, on my belly. I have water as opposed to iced tea. So, you know, which I'm not happy about. I'd much rather have iced tea. Ooh, there's a powerful light right here. Let's see if we can do that with the Fonz and Porter. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. Let's see. See that little bit of light right there? Want you to think the old masters, how would they do it, right? And that's where I'm coming from. Ah, definitely. My guest says he hates going on a diet, good rubbing a couple of times a day. Blue says there's always something we'd like to erase away. Definitely. It's not easy, right? You know? I always say I'm Buddy Hackett. I'm Cary Grant locked inside Buddy Hackett. That's what I always say. I'm a good looking person on the inside. On the outside, well, I got to deal with the hand that I was dealt. But oh, great. So now we can come on over here and start doing some of these hairs here with an aggressive eraser. So I'm really starting to see, that's what happens. We start to get to the point where the hair starts coming together. So now it's no longer a helmet. Now we're painting the smaller shapes and then the individual hairs. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, you know, like right now there's only 4 people in the group. And you know what? Something happened. There's only 4, right? So the quality of work's the same, right? I don't think I'm doing anything differently, but you know, when you see something like that, a drop off from 30 or 20 down to 4, that's like, it's like 75% drop off, if not more. And that's huge. That's a huge drop off. But what's important is that, yeah, it keeps going around. Like it's at 5. Like I'm seeing 5 concurrent viewers, so I see it going down to 5 to 7 to 4. You know, yeah, Willie, it is crazy. You know, but you know, I've been there before, right? So it's not like I'll be devastated if there's only 2 or 3 of my people out there, you know. But you're just saying to yourself, man, that was like a huge drop off. There we go. Ah, Roy's still here. How you doing there, Mr. Roy? Roy's doing this amazing painting. So how many of you out there know Jonathan Winters? So Roy's doing this painting of Jonathan Winters is just out of this world. Just really good. He's using the detail mixture, and you know, the detail mixture with, you know, diluting it just with a couple of drops, and the control he's getting with the Xtreme Patriot arrow is just out of this world. Really is. Mr. Mike is still here. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Roy is an amazing artist. Really is. We're just gonna come here. Ooh, see, I can definitely see when things are a little bit off. And it's a good time to erase. So I'm going to get my eraser. I'll be right back. I'm over here. Let's see. Look at this crazy point I'm getting. It's quite cool. Let me just show you. So now I have, look at that point, huh? That's incredible. That's an incredible pencil sharpener. That was given to me by a really cool person. So I appreciate that. And now we can really get in there because we have this incredible point. So we can get Malia's likeness here. Ever so gentle. Ooh, little too dark over here. So I'm always looking to see where it is the contrast is too strong, right? So you always want to make sure that you don't see areas that are a little too light or too dark, especially next to one another. And that's something that you always want to really constantly gauge your values against one another, especially in the late stage such as this painting here. And it's true, in the late going it seems like nothing is happening, but believe me, it is. So now that I have this beautiful this beautiful point on this aggressive eraser, I could adjust my pressure. Oh, that's another thing we're going to be doing on Saturdays. Every now and then we're going to be doing some digital art, which is going to be great. Hey, Miss Harris, how you doing? Great to see you. How are you today? I'm so glad you're here. Ah, thank you so much, Fuzzy. I appreciate that so much. Oh, so Willie says, how do I get... Oh, great. So Roy's going to show us on Friday. And so I got this really cool pencil sharpener. Let me show you. Where is it? I had the box. Here it is. It's AFMAT. And it's the PS10. You want to know something funny? In New York City, I went to junior high school 10. So that's pretty funny. PS10, it's like the New York City schools. So it is a art manual pencil sharpener. Works great for pastel pencils. So I have a prediction. I have a prediction that after you guys watch a couple of my Saturday night live streams, you're going to end up buying pastels. Trust me. You know? My guest says I could sharpen a pencil to a needle tip in school. Teachers hated him. Did like it. That's funny. And, oh, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Hey, Brad, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that, my friend. Mr. John Diekman, how's it going? Good to see you. How are you? So, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And that really helps the channel and, you know, to do new things. So, get ready, everybody. You're going to have to end up purchasing some some really cool pastels. Yes, I will, definitely. Uh, and what I'll do is I'll start out very light so you guys can get the product. So we'll start out with a couple of sets of pastel pencils. I think that will be good. And then we'll move into, more of the complicated stuff. You know what I mean? So that would be great. So it's good to see you, Mr. Diekman. How's everything? Fuzzy, how's life over there in Florida? How's the weather? And then we're going to lighten this up. I love this eraser here because I can just ever so lightly come in and lighten this up. So right here, it's ever so light, right? And what's great, Willie, is that it's going to be with the airbrush underpainting, so it's really going to be something that you can add on to your skills to create really nice portraits. And oh, Fuzzy says it's hot in the 80s. That's cool. Well, that's hot. And she also says, is that airbrush and pastel? Well, yes, this is basically the India ink and then the white pastel at the end. So we're kind of at that white pastel stage, and I think we'll have one more week with this. But Saturday night, I believe we are going to have our first pastel live stream. That's going to be 8 o'clock Eastern time. So that's going to be something to look forward to. I think that will be great. And we'll go over, I'll also in the beginning of the live stream talk about certain different products that you would need to get to start doing the technique of full color black and white, a full color black and white underpainting with pastel on top. And so my guest says, did he hear me correct? You're going to compete with SNL? No way. See, SNL's been doing it longer than me. I wouldn't do that. You just illustrated my point, Mr. My Guest. Thank you for that. 8 o'clock, my friend. So that's not bad, right? 8 o'clock. I don't know. I might be competing with the Big Bang Theory or something like that. I'm really loving that show. You guys like that show? And so right now we're just lightening up some of these values. And so basically light, even though it's the shadow area, light is kind of, escaping or, bouncing off of different areas and hitting the so-called quote unquote shadow areas. Oh, Mike D, John D says that he doesn't like the uh, the original cast. Now, when you meant the originals back in the 70s, sir? Oh, I wish it. So what I'll do is just like this. We'll go over each week. Will be like a certain stage. And but I don't think we'll be done in an hour though. But the live stream will only last an hour, and that's good. Everyone, it's not that long, and I'm sure everyone has stuff to do, and I don't want to take them away from that. Plus 8 o'clock's a little early. We can get some of the UK people here, which is good. Oh, the originals. Oh, back in the 80s, yes. So those were good, yeah. Eddie Murphy, and he was great. Oh, let's hit some of these individual lights here. So remember, light is going to bounce all over the place, right? So you're going to see light even where, you know, it might not hit directly, but it'll bounce off of a wall, bounce off of a sheet, bounce off of her chest, and come right back up, right? So that's when you're going to see all these different lights all over the place, right? And that's what's happening. So even in shadow areas, we're seeing it lighter. Let's get some water. Oh, that was good. Airbrushing in pastel is thirsty work. Let's see here, a little strong in this dark here, so let's calm that down. So remember, just like in digital art, the lighter the, even if it's an aggressive eraser, the lighter the pressure, the lighter the application, the lighter the effect that the eraser is going to have on your subject here. And then we'll just go over this ever so lightly. And let's continue. So you see me moving around, but that's okay. You want to give yourself the freedom to move around when you see something. It's all good. And so we have this sort of lighter color right here. Don't worry even so much of what it is. Just sort of apply it and then figure out what it was. And if you go a little too light, we can always darken that up again. It's like working with wet paint, as I mentioned earlier, you know. And let me move this chair. It's blocking my fan. So how's the sound today? Pretty good? The sound quality? Dan Aykroyd. I used to like Second City Television a lot, but it wasn't as funny as Saturday Night Live. Go. Right here, it's a little more complex than what I have. So let's indicate some of these lighter areas here. Oh, this is a job for the white pastel right here. There we go. Maybe we can deepen this shadow just a little bit right here. And now that we've begun that, let's see if we could come in a little bit with the Fons Importer and hit some little individual hairs here and there. Nothing crazy, just to give a little bit of light bouncing around. Then we'll come up here The light bouncing right there. Make sure it's not going in the same direction or equidistant. And even though you're painting hair, just stay with the 1 second rule. Just try and make sure that we're not making anything up, that we're following our observation. On this side, okay, so we do have more light coming on this side of her hair. A little bit dark over here. So let's fix this, shall we? Willie, have a great night. Always a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you Saturday. And Fuzzy, you have a great night, and good luck on military duty. And I hope to, oh yes, let's set up for next week's class. That would be amazing. I would look forward to that. And we'll talk. I'll email you, and we'll set a time, okay? So I'll look forward to that, Fuzzy, very much. So I'm excited. So let's do that. Very cool. So that's great. So that's great news. I'm very excited about that. Okay, so you see how I lightened up this part of the hair here. Even though it looked like, you know, if you go by the way the lighting is, that this would be much darker, but in reality, when I really gave it the 1 second rule, I can see that's not the case. This is actually quite light. There we go. And then this is a little bit, there's a lot of light in here, so I'm just gonna very lightly, just very light pressure. And thank you, Fuzzy, I appreciate it. And like I said here, there's more going on here, because remember, even though light might not be getting here, it's on the shadow side, there's still light bouncing around everywhere. And that's what's happening, right? So we're seeing that the light is bouncing around a lot, and that's why we're seeing a lot of these lighter values in here, because of all the light traveling after it bounces off of the sheets, off of the wall, off of her cheek. I mean, a lot of that is happening. So that's why we're seeing a lot of these light values in here. Light is very tricky, you know. It goes in straight lines and it bounces like a ball, right? So in the opposite angle of as it reflects off of something. The only thing that happens in light is that it always goes in a straight line, but as it travels further, it gets less and less intense. And the drop off is really quite amazing, like 75% in the first couple of feet. Really, 75%, and then the amount of drop off gets less and less as you go further away, you know, percentage from, so when you go further away, the light gets less and less intense, right? And so you have to make sure that we are paying attention to that. And that's the law of nature, right? That's physics. So we do, as artists, have to know a little bit of physics. There's no way around it. And now we can come back in with our airbrush. And let's soften up some of these areas here. Just make sure it's not as harsh as the eraser might make it, so we can calm this down just a tad. Plus it gives a nice smoky feeling, which I like. See how I did some of these individual hairs here? There we go. Not bad. Getting there, guys. Getting there. Little by little, my friends. See, just right there. Now I can also see where I might have went a little crazy with the dark again. So we're just going to, remember, light pressure is so important just to calm that down. Same thing here. Bring this over. There we go. I really like it because I feel now we're starting to get her likeness a little bit more, which is important to me. It's not important to me in the early going, but in the late stages it is important to me to get that likeness and to actually really start portraying the light the way it is. So you see that upper lip, it's not just a value, but it has a translucency, surface texture, and that's what I'm after at this point, right? The subtle changes of her lips here. So let's go in with the paintbrush, shall we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my liner brush. That's this guy right here, and I sell it on my website, inkflingers.com. And it's it's number 1 or number 0, and it's really great. And so what I like to do is to go ahead and just put a little bit of the medium mixture. Let's see, where do I get, it could be anything like a little lid or something. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to use a special cup. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of the medium mixture in here, and then I'm going to use the cup. So here's a couple of really good tips. When using it, let me zoom out here so I can see you guys. You guys can see me. So as you can see here, I have a little bit on there. And I'm just going to take some off. But what's important is you'll see that I'm going to get rid of some of the excess moisture. It's almost like a dry brush technique. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the dark that's in the corner of her mouth. And now it's not the whole corner of the mouth, right? It's a certain area that can, I mean, it's not the whole crease between. It's a certain area that's getting the dark, right? So we want to set up by getting rid of any, dark that's kind of wimpy in what we're going to do. So we're going to get rid of that. And you see there's hardly any dark over here. See that? We have to make sure, because this lip, right, it's not just a line. A lip is, the corner of the mouth is a little opening there, and then right here kind of overlaps so you don't see that crease in between the two. See that? That's going to make it work. Really is. Hey, Tone's back. Thank you, sir. And so Air Todd's still here. Very cool. And so that is great to see you, Tone, that you're back. How's the laundry going, my friend? I had to do my laundry last Saturday. That was not fun. But when it's over, you're like, man, why did I procrastinate that? That wasn't hard, right? And again, we want to get rid of the wimpy little crease that we have. And we're going to vary the crease. It's going to make for a much more interesting picture. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do our little crease here on the corner. Oh, okay, cool. Still getting ready to do the laundry, huh, sir? Okay. See that? Just on that little corner there. And then pick it up right here. And then let's see where we can pick it up again. Right here in the center. We'll pick this up. Great. And just a tad maybe right here. See how when you vary it, you give it some interest. And let's come in with just a little bit of darkness here. There we go. And let's zoom up. See if we can do some detail in her eyes. Go. Let's move on over to, well, let's see anything going with the eyebrow. Can we do something here? Yeah, maybe a little here and there. Just a little interest. Not bad. It doesn't make a big difference, but it's your painting, you know. If you want to make it look a little bit better, it's all good. And let's check. Not much here. It's all pretty fuzzy, right? So we don't want to put more detail than's there. So that's good to calm that down. And yeah, that's about it. There's not much to do with that particular tool, but Even for that little area, it made a big difference, you know. And let me just go rinse this out. I'll be right back. You don't want the ink to sit on your brush. Okay. So you see, nice and clean. And just get rid of all the moisture that's in there. And then you're good to go. The ink comes off pretty good because it's already pretty watered down to begin with, you know. So that's cool. So we're keeping that going. And let's go back to our eraser and put in some of these hairs that are underneath here. Let's see if I can show you what I mean. We'll zoom in. See what's going on over here? So you just want to do an indication, not every hair, and just make sure you get the direction of that so it makes sense. Don't want too many weird details. So everything pretty much has to make sense. Doesn't have to be total detail, just has to make sense. Okay, so 1 second rule. And I'm just gonna see how the hairs kind of come in here. See that? There we go. And then over here, let's see how the hairs and the forehead are coming together. And we can see that it's not just this line here, that over here you see that the forehead goes in a little bit here, or the side of her head there. And we're just going to indicate that. And then you can see now, upon further observation, we can see it's a little more complicated than what we had. So that's why spending extra time is really good. I could have called this painting done, but you see I would have had a less effective painting because there are some things I didn't quite see. So having that extra time to paint and see things is really going to help it to come together, you know? So that's something you want to. Oh, thanks, Blue. Blue says looking good. I appreciate that. And thank you so much, Tone. I appreciate it. Little by little, we're getting there, right? And let's zoom out. And as you can see, she's starting to gel. But there's still no rush, right? Still no rush. Let's come in with some hairs coming straight down. There we go. And then a little bit of value right over here, darker value. Yes, definitely, right, Roy? Roy says to take it slow, right? So that's very important. Just not to rush it, right, sir? That's exactly the case. And so let's see, we are at 11:26. We're doing good. We have 4 more minutes to go. So sorry about the rant, my friends, but sometimes it gets frustrated, when you build something up and, someone just takes your time slot and, and it's something that I built up over time. So, you kind of hope that, it would mean something. But I'm going to keep plugging no matter what. But Saturday night, guys, so I want to see you on Saturday. Saturday at the Portrait in Pastel, my friends. When I tell you, I'm going to tell you some of my, on Saturday, I'll tell you some of my credentials in pastel painting. So this is going to be quite interesting. Might send some ripples into the pastel world because I will be giving this live stream all this information to you guys. And thank you, Tone. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. And yeah, I'm just going to keep plugging, my friend. And I appreciate your support. And you're a great airbrush artist, Tone. Don't forget that. Love your work. You do some great stuff. And you're a hard worker, man. Tone sometimes does 8 hours a day. And it shows in your work. It really does. See how, when we vary those creases where you kind of lose it. You see it, then you lose it there. So you see it, you lose it, there it is, you lose it. That's really cool. I like that. I'm going to do some of these darks in between these lights here in the lip, just to bring that out a little more. Thank you so much. Mr. John Payne says she looks amazing. I appreciate that. Brad says Saturday will be a real treat. Man, thank you. I really appreciate that. So looking forward to it. So we're at 11:29. So that's cool. So let's see, where are we right now? We'll do one more week on Malia here. And just to... I might darken up something just to bring it together. I'm not sure. It's just missing something. But I think when we crop her, that's the thing. We're seeing things that, she's going to be cropped. So we have some extra. But I think I can do some extra detail. John Diekman, take care. I appreciate it. And Brad said, it wasn't for my live stream, I probably would have quit airbrushing. Oh, man, that means a lot to me, Brad. Thank you. And Tone says he's been airbrushing since the 80s, and there were lots of airbrush artists that came and went. Just keep going and don't think. I will, my friend. Thanks for that great advice there, Tone. Thank you. Mr. Roy, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you, John Diekman. And my guest says she's looking really good. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for coming by on this Wednesday night. You could have been doing anything, and I really appreciate your time, Mr. Mike S., and your great comments as always. Brad, have a great night. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. I will see you all on Saturday at 8, and if you're on my mailing list, you're going to get an email on that, all right? And also on my Facebook. So have a great night, everybody. You all are amazing, and you guys are close to my heart. Take care.